Okay, so let's start with the digestive system. You know where we was last time. We were talking about the appendix. The name of the disease was appendicitis, and that disease was like that. What was that disease? That disease was like that when a food particle is trapped inside that finger-like projection, somewhere here, this finger-like projection, that was present where the small and the large intestine connects with each other. And sometimes the mouth of that finger-like projection is a little bit open, and somehow a food particle is trapped inside that finger-like projection, and that causes immune reaction, that causes infection, and that can lead to very, very severe pain, and it must be removed at that time. And the pain and the disease, this is called as appendicitis. And doctors usually remove that thing with a small, surgery at that time. Then things enters into the large intestine. If you can imagine about that food was started, from the journey, its journey from the mouth, grinding, chewing, carbohydrate digestion, then sent into the stomach. Protein was digested, acids was added, then converted into a semi-solid liquid called Cecum. From there, it was like entered into the small intestine bit by bit. It is quite acidic, it can destroy the small intestine as well. That's also very interesting question. So the small intestine actually try to neutralize the acidic content coming from the stomach. It actually neutralizes those content, and the things coming from the pancreas and the liver, they are supporting the process of digestion and also the process of neutralization. So it will be easier for that food to stay in the intestine. And during that journey, all the macromolecules are converted into simpler ones. What are the things which the body required to exist as a biological living thing? They need carbohydrates, glucose. Carbohydrate means glucose. They need protein, means amino acids. They need fat, lipids, means fatty acids. And also water, also salts, also vitamins and other things are there within the food. All these things are now traveling within the digestive system and then enters into the last part of the small intestine, where all these small things get absorbed into the blood. Small intestine. Everything is absorbed in the last part of the small intestine. It started destroying or breaking down in the stomach, but does not absorb at that time. It is absorbed where? In the small part of the intestine, in the last part of the small intestine. And I can also tell you that actually the last part of the small intestine also have different regions for the absorption of different things. So proteins, amino acids are absorbed here, fats are absorbed here, and carbohydrates are absorbed here. They also have different specific regions for that absorption. And that is very interesting information. आपने अदनान समी खान को देखा कितना था वो, and then now what a wonderful transformation. वो डॉक्टर डजार्डन को जानते हैं, वो जो बड़े बड़े मोटे मोटे लोगों की सर्जरी करता है और उसको कोशिश करता है नॉर्मल लाइफ देने की उनको, तो वो भी इस तरह के काम. आपने सर्जरी सुनी होगी, इसको बोलते हैं इंटेस्टाइनल बाईपास सर्जरीज. इंटेस्टाइनल बाईपास सर्जरीज ये होती है कि दिस इज द इंटेस्टाइन and for example this is the part which is responsible for the absorption of the products of fats, fatty acids, glycerol, whatever. यहाँ पर absorb होना है. What they are doing, they clip the intestine from here and clip the intestine from here, and then add a small part of intestine like this. They bypass this region. So after taking a small intestine and then they connect from here and then add from here. Now what happens? The food is coming from there. Proteins get absorbed comfortably. Carbohydrate will be absorbed before, but when the time comes for the fatty acids to absorb, there is no place for that thing. So the food will be like bypassed to the intestine. It will go out from the body. So the person, whatever the person is eating, the fats will not going to be absorbed by the body. So that person will start losing weight rapidly. I mean, of course, this is not a very advisable surgery, I can tell, because fats are of course required to lose a lot of things in the body. The best thing is that to have that much amount of food which you can metabolize. Excessive fats are dangerous, but the fat which you actually require to have, that is very important, and very important chemicals are created out of the fat molecules. Sex hormones are created out of the fat molecules. Several hormones are actually built using the fat molecule. So that is very important. G. Liposuction is different. Liposuction is that usually our fat is accumulated between our skin and our muscles. क्योंकि body क्या करेगी जब आप fat metabolize नहीं करेंगे? Body के पास क्या choice है? The body will start putting the fat in different places. पहले वो कोशिश करेगी कि store करे उसको muscles में, वो बढ़ता जाएगा. Then eventually you can see the fat accumulating in different parts of the body. Belly और तोन निकल आती है, पेट बढ़ जाता है. And that is all accumulation of fat. Now, if you can feel that there is a lot of fat beneath the skin and the muscles, you can just make a cut and you can remove those fat mechanically. This is what we call as liposuction. That actually reduces a lot of weight as well. Zarur. Not in the belly. As a belly is not a specific place where it should be stored. It is actually stored in the other places first. Oh, bachti wa nazar wahan se aati hai na. It's a good point. ये सबसे मुश्किल से जाती भी वहां से है. Listen, for me, I mean, sometimes I do feel, oh, मेरा पेट बढ़ गया यार, I need to see it. But I'm fine at the age of 43. मैंने अपनी जिंदगी गुजार ली है यार. I don't need to affect people anymore. It's your problem. Me no. So the thing is that it has already stored in other places, and then it comes like when something is appeared on your body, that means it's already over. It's already over. When your body start consuming the fat, आपकी body fat consume कैसे करना शुरू करेगी? आपकी body सबसे पहले क्या करेगी? The first thing your body will utilize is a carbohydrate. When carbohydrates are done, your body, the level of carbohydrate depleted in your blood, then your body shifted towards the fats and carbohydrates. Now think about your lifestyle. You're having a wonderful lifestyle. Yes, shabash. So think about your lifestyle. If your lifestyle is that you are eating and you are not consuming the carbohydrate, imagine fat की बारी आनी नहीं है. अगर fat की बारी नहीं आएगी तो over the period of years and years and years it will start accumulating. So अगर आप आज जो लोग डाइट करते हैं, वो जो डाइट करते हैं वो पता क्या करते हैं? न्यूट्रिशनल बाकी सारे लोग, वो जो लोग डाइट करते हैं, the doctor or the nutritionist, they are suggesting those people a diet where they can consume their carbohydrate quite quickly, so that their body shift to the fats. The fat is not there in the food. Very few amount of calories are out there. So that is why their body consume all the available resources from the food and then shift it to the fats. Now the fat is not there. So they started using the fat accumulated in the body. अब इस तरह उसकी बारी आना belly में और इधर is quite late. It's quite difficult. So it's very difficult, but this is one of the way that you can actually put pressure on the fat accumulated in your body. Of course, together with the exercise, that will be amazing. I mean, I can tell you it is okay. Body shaming के मामले में ना हम लोग बड़े weird हैं. हम लोग बहुत बदतमीज हैं. I'm sorry to tell you these things. We are not nice people in this way. I mean, this is not something we have choose to. हमने create नहीं किया. ना अपना skin color choose किया, ना अपना body structure, ना अपना physical weight and all these things. But it is okay to be fat, but it is not okay to be unhealthy. आप fat हो सकते हैं, that is fine. आप मेरी तरह के skinny हो सकते हैं, that is fine. But what is not fine is that you are unhealthy. I mean, you are consuming something and you're not metabolizing it. That is bad. If you have like a sort of overweight person, if you have your structure is like that, but you are consuming and you are metabolizing your food, then you are a perfectly healthy person. Your body will not going to suffer at all because of your weight. But what if you are consuming a lot of things and you are not metabolizing it over the period of time? It's a burden on your body. Imagine your body and muscles needs to work a little bit more than the normal people. So as long as you are consuming and living a healthy life, that is absolutely perfect and fine. And I request you guys, really, I mean, I can tell you everyone is beautiful in his or in her own perspective. So this is not something we have decided. अगर हमारे अपनी मर्जी से हो, मैं मेजर क्लास को पढ़ा रहा था जेनेटिकल इंजीनियरिंग और फ्यूचर के बारे में ना, कि मुस्तकबिल में कैसे इंसान जो है वो उनको तख्लीक किया जा सकता है मर्जी से, सारे के सारे हमजा की तरह प्यारे हो जाए, दे कैन क्रिएट. मेरे जैसा बच्चा तो किसी ने लेना नहीं था, है ना, मार्केट में कोई चूज ही ना करता यार ऐसा बोंगा सा मैंने नहीं लेना. Everyone will try to make have beautiful structures or beautiful things. So at this time, we are not like in that position. This is like not somebody planned that type of thing. मेरे बाल इस तरह के होंगे, मेरा body इस तरह का होगा, मेरा structure इस तरह. It's something which was given for biological reasons to you guys. The best thing is that whatever you are given, ये शान है. Whatever you are given, you should utilize that stuff in the best possible, in the healthiest of. And you can live with the weight, whatever you are having, as long as you are metabolizing well. Bad thing is that if you're not metabolizing well, that's a bad thing. So that's a bypass. So that's more complicated than the liposuction. Liposuction is quite physical thing that you just enter beneath the skin and try to capture as much fat as possible and try to remove that fat. Or but for the other thing, for bypass, people sometimes they actually cut down the stomach as well. Dr. Desjardins wala jo hai aur dusra would stomach काट देते, छोटा कर देते हैं, so that proteins should not be digested properly well, and or they manually यानी कि engineer करते हैं digestive system को. So in that case, whatever the people are eating, it is not actually entering into the body. So the body will have a serious shock of resources and it shift to the fats. आप कह सकते हैं कि ये manually भी तो कर सकते हैं. Manually करना बहुत बहादुरी की बात है. You know, it's very difficult to fight with the hunger and craving. हम लोगों में से तो बहुत सारे होंगे जो जिंदा इसलिए हैं कि रोटी का अगला टाइम कौन सा, अगला खाने में क्या है, इसके बाद वाले खाने में क्या है, फिर उसके बाद अगले वाले खाने में क्या है. So it's very difficult to fight with the craving. But if you can, like हम रमजान में भी ये करते हैं ना, whatever the nature has given us a chance, और हम उसकी तबाही फेर देते हैं. Most of us actually grow weight during the Ramadan. आपने देखा होगा इफ्तारी के बाद सबके पेट निकले होते हैं अजीब से. It's quite और सहरी के बाद it's quite pressure. So we are, अगर हम उसको एक normal food की तरह सहरी खाएं और normal food की तरह इफ्तारी करें, तो that might going to be a wonderful exercise. लेकिन वो fear होता है ना, प्यास लग जाएगी, भूख लग जाएगी, खाना इकट्ठा कर लो, और इफ्तारी के टाइम पे तो खास तौर पे, and you are also eating unhealthy at that time. Okay, let me take you to the lecture from here. So when the food is entering into the large intestine, it is mainly of what? Undigested material. The material which we fail to digest, cellulose and other chemicals which we have no solution. We don't know anything about those chemicals, and those are unwanted or undigested food material. Also, it contains water, it contains salts, vitamins. Very interesting things are there. Still very important things are there. And then it travels in the large intestine like this. It goes this, and then in this way, and then in this way. It travels in this way. This is the path of the large intestine. Now, this large intestine is actually doing also wonderful things. And a lot of us are having trouble with our large intestines in one way or another. The job of the large intestine is to manage the reabsorption of water. Large intestine क्या करती है? पानी को absorb करती है. For example, if you are not having enough water in your blood, it actually try to control the level of water over there. It absorbs a water out. But the absorption of water actually defines the bowel movement as well. If the water is absorbed too much in the large intestine, what will happen? It is difficult for the undigested weight to travel. The feces, it is difficult for the feces to travel, and that's what we call as constipation. It's sometimes triggered because of the food as well, but most of the time it is because of the over absorption of water in the intestine. But what if the intestine is not absorbing water at all, or quite absorbing less water? In that case, most of the water will stay in the feces, and that's what we call as the diarrhea. So they need a balance in absorption of water, and especially the salts and the vitamins. One more, one of our friends actually used to live in the large intestine. They are bacteria. The bacteria who used to live in the large intestine, they are like having wonderful jobs. And one of the jobs for those bacteria is to create very critical and important vitamins for us. They are creating wonderful chemicals for us, for our sake. For example, they are creating vitamin C, vitamin B, and similar sort of important chemicals they are creating for us. They are living there. They are getting the food from our undigested, unwasted food. They are getting the food for free. And they can have a place which they can call as home. And as a result, what they are giving to us, they are giving us back important chemicals and vitamins. And we are allowing them to live. Otherwise, bacteria हमारी body में हो तो हम उसको मार डालते हैं. They are like home. They are like our own friends, and we allow them to live. It's called symbiosis, a mutual existence, coexistence, which benefits both of us. You can recall your relations, whether it is symbiotic or not. Sometimes it just go one way. One person is getting benefit, the other is just losing. Sometimes it works in a symbiotic relationship. The relationship in which the one person is losing, the other one is gaining. You know, it's called parasitic relationship. And this one is called as symbiosis, when both get benefit. So, जब डॉक्टर आपको कभी एंटीबायोटिक देता है, you know, in case of बीमारी, in case of disease or trouble, infection में एंटीबायोटिक देता है. आप एगमेंटिन, एमोक्सिसिलिन अगर आपको याद आ रही हो, ये तो हम क्या बता देते हैं कि ये खा लो, कोई मसले नहीं. एगमेंटिन, एमोक्सिसिलिन एक्सेट्रा. तो आप जब उसको एक दिन खाते हैं तो एक दिन के बाद आप यू स्टार्टेड फीलिंग कि आपका पेट लूज हो गया. यू स्टार्टेड फीलिंग डायरिया आफ्टर दैट. एक दो दिन खा के देखें कोई भी एंटीबायोटिक. It is difficult for you to control your, you know, digestive system. Especially the function of the large intestine is disrupted, because that antibiotic will not only destroy the unfriendly bacteria in the body, but they also kill the friendly one as well. So the friendly ones are not there. They're not producing the chemicals well. They're not helping the digestive system. So it is difficult for the large intestine to execute the function normally, and that causes the diarrhea. Doctor usually asks, a good doctor sometimes, they usually prescribe some vitamins as well at the same time when they give some antibiotic, because they know the person will going to lose the function of those bacteria. And if you can recall, sometimes if the diarrhea stays for a longer period of time, doctor do suggest some sort of solutions for you guys to drink. They are salt solution, but also some type of bacteria. They give you some sort of bacteria. It is called as, क्या बोलते हैं उसको क्या कहते हैं, मेरे को भूल रहा है. But it contains some sort of bacteria, okay? And those actually help in culturing. Those chemicals actually, that material actually help in the growth of the bacteria in our large intestine, so that we can restore our function. अगर हम अपना जल्दी function restore करें, अगर डॉक्टर फील करना है कि 3-4 दिन से ज्यादा हो गया है, डायरिया constant है, so they actually intervene and try to help the bacteria present in the intestine by giving them a supplement. मुझे उसका exact नाम याद नहीं आ रहा, तो थोड़ी देर बाद याद आएगा. And sometimes you also know कि दही खाना चाहिए. Yogurt is very good for digestive system, and that is because yogurt contains a lot of friendly bacteria that help in the nurturing of those friendly bacteria in the large intestine. So at the end of the large intestine, actually it ended up all the beautiful, wonderful things are absorbed in the small intestine. Whatever left is actually balanced. Water is absorbed, and the food is now in the form of undigested waste material, and that is called as feces. It is required to be expelled from the body, and that is expelled from the body through the anus with the help of the muscles around it. So our large intestine is large because it can hold a lot of undigested food for a certain period of time, and that is required for our normal human function, because we can't go everywhere and every time. That give us the time that we can, do our jobs. And if you can imagine, from the mouth to the anus, it was like everything is like outside the body. If you place a pipe inside a statue, that actually does not present within the statue. That thing, whatever the thing present in our gut or digestive system, is actually like the thing present outside the body. It's just a covering. So we get the things in the small intestine. We absorb the things from the system. So it's a wonderful mechanical process. You can see it starting from the mouth, using mechanical actions as well as using chemical actions to break down the food into simpler ones, and then absorb it, and then release the unwanted and undigested food outside our body. And this is the only way we can get energy and food from the system, from the surrounding. So that's all, I think, from my side. And I have introduced you certain diseases you should know. You should know about what is ulcer. You should know about the liver disorder, but that is not part of the digestive system. Liver disorders can contribute in the digestion as well, as I explained you in terms of gallbladder. Diarrhea and constipation, if you know, the appendicitis, and sometimes colon cancer. Colon cancer is a very common sort of cancer, and that happens when the tumor started developing in the colon. And so colorectal cancer we can think. Or if somebody is not taking care of the food well, or is staying or living with the constipation for a longer period of time, it's a high chances that Allah na kare, that person will going to develop those type of tumors, and it's quite painful to deal with those things. So you can help your digestive system by how? By giving a food which can easily recognized by your system and which can be digested easily by the chemicals produced by your body. If you're giving your body a food which is difficult to digest, that means you are asking your digestive system to work harder than normal. And that can lead to, the dysfunction more is. तो जब भी मैं किसी को यहाँ पर चिप्स खाता हुआ देखता हूँ अपने ऑफिस के बाहर या वैसे बैठ के लेज खा रहे होते हैं, मैं यूजुअली उससे ले लेता हूँ, छीन लेता हूँ, फिर मुझे बदले में उसको अपना लंच देना पड़ता है. इट्स वेरी सैड फॉर मी बट आई हैड टू, आई हैव नो चॉइस. इट्स वेरी अनहेल्दी फॉर यू गाइस. मैं उनके खिलाफ नहीं उन कंपनीज के, बट आई एम मोर इंक्लाइंड टुवर्ड्स यू गाइस. मतलब मेरे लिए ज्यादा खुशी की बात यह है कि जब मैं देखूं कि आप लोगों ने सुबह सुबह एक कुकम्बर काट के एक बॉक्स में डाल के साथ ले, एंड दैट इज मोर हेल्दी देन ऑल ऑफ दीस थिंग्स. एक फ्रूट आपके पास है. जस्ट यार, इफ यू आर नॉट डाइंग टुडे, if you are like not unhealthy today, that does not mean that you should put your body in that much trouble. You can extend your life. You can help your body to have a longer life by using and respecting your systems. When you are inhaling toxic things, you are actually pushing and making your lungs older than normal. When you are eating the bad things, you are actually not helping your digestive system. And that actually makes your digestive system older than you. And when you get unhygienic food and you live in an unhygienic way, that means you are pushing your immune system to work very hard to keep you healthy. जब तक आप healthy रहते हैं, that does not mean that you are not working. You are working very hard. आपकी body बहुत मेहनत करती है to maintain the state of health for you. And we are कि यार ये वाला खाना मेरे लिए ओके है क्योंकि मुझे तो कुछ नहीं हुआ. आपको कुछ नहीं हुआ. At the cost of what? At the cost of the function of your body. So you will going to lose the function like in 30, 40, 45 or 50 years of your age. Just help yourself. Although we are not living in a very and the last but not the least, which is not very much important, but no, which is not very much discussed, that at the end of the day, all these things are coordinated by our central nervous system, our brain. And then they think there is another thing called stress and environment factor. These are actually direct, affectors. They are actually direct contributors. They can influence the human biology, and they can, confer a lot of troubles to our systems. Circadian rhythm उड़ जाता ना, हमें सिर्फ यही पता है, नींद उड़ जाती है, मोहब्बतों में नींद उड़ जाती है, ब्रेकअप्स में नींद उड़ जाती है. That's all we know. We only relate stress to these things. ये सब ऐसा नहीं है. It's a quite complex thing. I mean, you are not living in a way you want to. This is the stress. You are not getting an education which you want to. This is the stress. You are not getting the responses from your friend in a way it should be. This is the stress. So all these difficult things and the stressful condition are affecting your biology. But having said all these things, you also need to be the wonderful guy or a wonderful person for the rest of your friends as well. I mean, just trying to. So this is the best you can do for the rest of people of your world. That at least do not be a reason of worry. Do not be a reason of sadness. Do not be a reason of stress. It's quite difficult to understand, but it is affecting our health a lot. It disrupts our circadian rhythm. And many people, that when they're in stress, they actually lose the function of the digestive system as well. कुछ लोगों को बहुत भूख लगती है परेशानी में, स्ट्रेस में. कुछ लोगों को बहुत नींद आती है, कुछ लोगों को नींद उड़ जाती है, कुछ लोगों को बिल्कुल भूख नहीं लगती है नींद में. So all these things are abnormalities associated. To take this body for a longer period of time, you need to understand the functions and then respect the function. Okay, so thank you very much from digestive system.